Hi everyone, it is pretty much the end of March and I want to do a video going over everything I was working on over the past month, as well as what I'll be starting over the next few days so that we can start off April on a relatively organized note. I wouldn't put much stock in me keeping to my own plans, but we'll see. So, in terms of finished objects, I actually only have one to show you. I think I did do a couple more hats, but I gave them away already without taking pictures. So, at least I have this, I'm going to call it the origami cardigan. There is no pattern. I don't follow patterns ever. So there was a pattern for a crocheted shawl that was based on a rectangle, and I really liked the concept of how it was put together. I wanted a different stitch and I wanted to use my own hand spun, so it's very different from what the original pattern was. And all of this stuff I'm going to do more close-up shots at the end because it's going to be really hard to fit them on screen. But functionally it has a cowl neck type of collar. I might put a fastener on the front for when I'm wearing it, but it does have little half sleeves. Basically, I crocheted a giant rectangle, and the point of the rectangle is that the long part of the rectangle has to be long enough to go across your back. The short ends have to be long enough to fully wrap around your upper arm, and then you stitch together the two ends of the rectangle. Those are the basis for your sleeve holes and where you crochet the sleeves off of. From there you continue crocheting around the outer edge to create the cowl neck and the front of the cardigan, and it also makes like a draped back across it. It looks really, it's an interesting shape, and it uses up a lot of my little individual skeins of hand spun that I didn't really have a use for otherwise. So, finished a sweater. That took most of the month because sweaters take forever. So, in terms of what I am working on for unfinished objects, UFOs, work in progress. Most people put WIPs, W-I-Ps. I prefer UFOs, it's just more amusing. So you've already seen the wool I've been spinning. This is the Targhee lamb fleece. It's pretty much all fluffed at this point, so it's just a matter of spinning it. I have one 4-ounce bobbin of singles so far. It's crazy soft. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it, but it's so soft. And then it'll just occasionally have these parts where the colors are just amazing. So I love that. And then I still have the Jacob going too. I have a bobbin of Jacob here. That one is just natural colors, so grays, browns, and whites. You can get a lot of different shades out of a single Jacob fleece, so that's really fun to play with. You can do some really cool gradients. You can do color work just with a natural colored fleece. And the less I have to dye, the better, because it is kind of a pain. My kitchen's not really set up for it, so I can do it, but it's not ideal. So that's what I've been working on spinning, at least for this week. Crochet wise, I have 2 Tunisian crochet projects, one normal crochet project that's going to become a Tunisian crochet project, and a knitting project. So I think I'll start with the knitting project just because there's only one of them. I've been working on this off and on for a while, so you'll probably see it in the April wrap-up video too, and maybe even May. It's very slow. I don't knit very fast. I mostly work on it in the car on my breaks at work. So I have a ball of hand spun singles I did, and it's eventually going to be a hat in the far off future. I don't know how well you can see it. It's mostly stockinette and then the occasional row of purl. I do love the texture It's pretty stretchy. It's reasonably soft. It'll be a very, very slouchy hat because that is my preference for hats, generally speaking. So, my one knitting project. I usually only do 1 or 2 knitting projects a year because they're very slow for me. I do love the end results though, so there is that. Alright, crochet wise, let's start with the Tunisian crochet. I guess technically all 3 of them will ultimately be Tunisian crochet. That's not really the point. So this one, let's see if I can get it reasonably pretty looking. This one's going to be a scarf. It's, I should have looped it on there. It's about that long. It is in the Tunisian knit stitch, so it's curling up really bad. I'm going to have to block it at the end. The yarns are really what makes this one so special because we have a pink pure silk. The color was actually called raspberry. And I, off the top of my head, don't remember the name of the brand, but I will write all of this stuff in the description. But for the other yarn, I have this one, this really pretty multicolored merino singles. I believe it was an Ella Ray lace merino, and it's a fingering weight, pretty sure. This one's kind of special to me because before, like years ago, I would spend a chunk of my summers, not every year, but reasonably often, visiting my relatives in North Carolina, and my grandfather would spend each of those trips trying to take me to different stores and locations that had to do with whatever hobby I was working on at that time. And he passed away a couple years ago, but this yarn, is it a couple years ago now? Not quite a couple years ago, a year and a half. This yarn is from the last trip that I took down there. We visited a shop in Asheville. What is it called? Black Sheep Fibers? Something like that. I can link to the shop too, actually, because it still exists. I looked it up a few days ago. I might buy from them again. They were really nice. They wound it into a cake for me. At the time, I didn't have my own ball winder, so. But anyway, the yarn's beautiful, and I'm glad I'm finally using it for something. It's been in my stash probably since 2016 or so, maybe longer. And it does look really pretty with the silk. And I love the Tunisian knit stitch. It gives me the illusion of knitting without the irritating parts. So, but yeah, so that it is still going pretty slow, but they are fairly fine yarns, so that's kind of to be expected. So there's that one. The other one is my, I'm going to go with first attempt at Tunisian crochet in the round. I did like do a headband just to see what it was like, but I'm not even sure I finished it. I think I gave up on it. This is going much better. So it is curling up really bad, so I'm going to have to block this one as well. It's a circular scarf, or infinity scarf, as my mother tends to call them, although I always assumed infinity scarves would have it looped like a Mobius strip, while the circular scarves do not. I might be wrong there. That was just always my understanding of the difference. So it's a sampler of a bunch of different Tunisian crochet stitches. The forward pass I'm doing with a sock yarn. I don't remember the brand for this. It's been in my stash a pretty long time. I lost the tags. Reasonably certain it's pure merino though, because I remember thinking, oh, I can't actually use this for socks. So pretty sure it's pure merino. And then the return pass is with the KnitPicks, the one with the silk in it. What is that called? Shine, maybe? It's not Swish. Swish is the superwash. I don't remember. But the hooks are KnitPicks as well. I ended up buying just this one pair of Tunisian Crochet interchangeable hooks in size 7mm, just because I wanted to try it out. I have a full set of KnitPicks cords, so I was like, oh, well, I already have the cords, I'll get the hooks. I don't know if I'm going to buy a full set of these because they're really round, and I like a pointier tip. Just for getting in those more tight stitches. But I don't really know what brand to get either. I'm pretty new to Tunisian Crochet. I do like the color of the hooks though. They're like rainbow. Not really. I think they're called sun something. Sunburst. I should really write this stuff down. They're nice though. I like them. Color-wise. I have some of the KnitPicks interchangeable needles, mostly in the nickel plated, because that's mostly what I use is metal needles. But I do have a few pairs in the Caspian wood. So KnitPicks, if you watch this, I would love some Caspian interchangeable hooks. I would love that. That'd be great. The colors are awesome. And I know you make them the normal way, so you would just have to stick a metal cap on the end, please. Alright, so those are the two Tunisian crochet projects that are already Tunisian crochet. I have a sweater that I've been working on for Mike off and on. And I've only really finished the ribbing, basically. I got really bored. What I'm thinking I'm gonna do is once I finish that circular scarf, which it shouldn't take me too much longer, I'm almost out of the return pass yarn, I will just put a different cord on the Tunisian crochet hooks and use it straight from the ribbing I've already made and see if it works, because it is the same hook size, so it might work. And try to Tunisian crochet the sweater instead of normal crochet, because it's something I'm learning to do, so I already have an interest in it, and that might keep me interested long enough to finish it. But I have a kind of complicated relationship with making sweaters. I've started probably 6 of them altogether, but I finished 3. Yeah, 3. I might have actually started 7, but I've still definitely only finished 3. So it's kind of a crapshoot whether I'll actually finish the sweater. I want to finish it. I want to give Mike a sweater, but it is a lot of effort and time, so we'll see. So there's that. Alright, so that is all of the fiber stuff that I've been working on. I did get some new stuff in the mail that I wanted to show you because it relates to fiber arts, at least vaguely. Okay, most of it not vaguely. I bought 2 new books. So, got a Tunisian Crochet Stitch Guide, finally. I did page through it already. My issue with it is that it doesn't actually name most of the stitches, they're just numbered. So if I'm trying to describe the stitch to someone, I don't really know what I'll call them. They just have numbers. So that's a little irritating. It's like the first 14 stitches are actual stitches. Tunisian extended stitch, Tunisian purl stitch, whatever. And then after that, they're all just numbers. So, it does have some really nice pictures though, which is helpful. And it was pretty cheap, which is also helpful. There's this one stitch on the front, right here, that seems to involve the Tunisian knit stitch and then something else in between it. I haven't read through the whole booklet yet, but it does look really cool in the pictures, so if I can figure out what it is and how to do it, I will probably be using that. The other book that I got is Yarnitecture by Merino. And it's mostly about spinning yarn so you can make exactly the project you want to, which means technically it's a lot more technical a spinning book than what I normally would use. I'm not a technical spinner by any means. But the pictures are fantastic, and it is nice to actually see samples comparing exactly what doing different things to the same fiber will do. Because there is a ridiculous number of ways to do every single step of the spinning process, and it goes into exactly what each of those steps does. And I like that. I at least like having that knowledge. There's also some knitting patterns in the back, which I probably won't actually use, but the rest of the book is useful and very pretty. It's a hardcover too. I never buy hardcovers. It's great. I love it. Alright, some books. I also got a new game for my Switch because I don't have enough hobbies already. No, seriously though, I've had my Switch for a couple years now. We got them same year they came out, and as a household we've gone through a few of them. My first one I used until it completely broke and wore out. So this is my second personal one. I have the Pokemon one. But I got the new Story of Seasons game, Pioneers of Olive Town. So I spent a few hours on that so far. I got the deluxe edition, so I have a little plushie to add to my collection of tiny video game plushies. It's a little buffalo. It's adorable. Hopefully I will eventually get the farm up and running so I can have some actual sheep, but right now it's a coffee plantation because that's what I like. So I got that. Yesterday I also got the yarn for my first pair of socks. I found a pattern for a pair of crocheted socks done in worsted weight, and they used the KnitPicks. They also sell it at WeCrochet. Felici worsted weight. I think I bought it from WeCrochet as opposed to KnitPicks. So I got the color Goth Kitty. It's like pinks and grays and purple. Got two skeins of it. So I'll be starting those within the next few days, most likely. I'd like to finish at least one more project before I start another project. So whichever scarf is done first, I'll replace that with the socks. That said, the sock project isn't really one I can bring in the car because I'll be referring to a pattern the entire time, and also because I'll need to try them on as I make them. So that's more of an at-home watching TV project, while the knitting project and the circular Tunisian crochet project are in the car on my work breaks at work projects, or in the car riding to the grocery store projects, or, I mean, you get the picture. Some projects don't require much thought, and I can take them with me anywhere and work on them whenever I have free time, as long as they fit in my bag, which some of them eventually grow to the size where they don't fit anymore, and then I replace them with a different small carry-around project. Other projects, like sweaters and socks, and anything that involves spinning, are do this while watching TV projects, or even do this while listening to podcast projects, while sitting on your couch. I still take forever to get them done. I really don't have very much free time. It seems like I do, but I really don't. I do work a lot. So that's that. The other thing I've had come in the past week or two, I already had 2 crochet hooks from Furls. I have added to my collection. I have 5 now. One more on the way, I think. Yeah. And there's also one in here from a different company. This one is not Furls. This is something else. So I have the Padduck, and I have 2 in ebony. And this one I think was called Peppermint. And this is one of the resin ones. I bought it to try it out because I was like, oh, resin will be slipperier, and I love more slippery hooks. That's why the majority of my hooks are metal. I love the shape of Furls though. It's really comfortable to hold because they're really ergonomic. Anyway, I bought one resin one to try out. I'm a little nervous about trying it because some of their reviews said that they break really easy if you drop them. So I don't necessarily want to buy a whole bunch of resin ones yet. I will probably just keep buying wooden ones as they come out with new colors. I don't have the teak or the camwood yet. I still need a 6.5 millimeter, and then I think the 9 and 10 millimeters are all I'm missing. So just 3 more hooks. I guess if I got one of those in teak and one in camwood, then I could get one more resin one, maybe? Whatever size would be the largest one I'm missing, I'd get that in resin. Because I figured larger hook, it's thicker, more sturdy. I hope. I haven't tried them. We shall see. So, I think that's about everything for the month of March. Like I said, I'm going to shoot a few small clips of the various in progress pieces. I'll probably upload that as a separate video just so I don't have to fight with my computer more than I absolutely have to. I think that's it. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else at all I've worked on this month. I mean, I showed you the spinning projects I worked on. Those are all posted in more recent videos. I was given a huge amount of cotton yarn recently, so you're going to see that in projects over the next month or so. I haven't decided 100% what I want to make. I divided it up based on color, and there's one bag I have that's entirely like sunshiny, fiery, warm colors. They're also really bright. They're not just warm. Like mustard is still a warm color, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a bright color. These are like golden, sunshiny yellows and oranges and bright fire truck reds. I'm just thinking they'd make a really fun blanket, but they also don't really match anything in my house. So I don't really necessarily want to make that as a blanket. And I don't really want a cotton sweater because that would be really heavy. So I don't know yet. I will figure it out. I hope you have a great rest of your week. It's beautiful out. Take some time to get some sunshine. Bye.